The date was August 23, 2026, a Sunday that will forever be etched into the archives of international sports. As the latest WTA rankings were released to the public, a tectonic shift occurred within the landscape of professional tennis. Alexandra Eala, the 21-year-old phenom hailing from Quezon City, had officially ascended to the world number 18 position. This was not merely a career milestone for a young athlete. It was the shattering of a glass ceiling that had stood for decades. With this ranking, Eala secured her place as the most successful singles player in the history of both the Philippines and Southeast Asia. She became the first representative of her nation to penetrate the elite top 20, marking the culmination of a meteoric rise that has left analysts, historians, and competitors alike reevaluating the traditional blueprints for success on the professional tour. To appreciate the gravity of this achievement, one must look at the sequence of barriers Eala has dismantled over the past few years. Her journey has been defined by a series of unprecedented firsts. She was the first Filipino to consistently overcome top 10 opposition on the world stage. She was the first to navigate the grueling early rounds of a Grand Slam to reach the second week, proving her mettle over 5 sets of high-stakes pressure. Her performance at the WTA 1000 event in Miami, where she reached the semifinals, served as a warning shot to the established order. However, the definitive moment of her recent surge came in the nation's capital, where she hoisted the trophy at the WTA 500 Washington Open. That victory was the final piece of evidence needed to prove that Eala was no longer a prospect. She was a powerhouse. As the sporting world turns its gaze toward this graduate of the Rafa Nadal Academy, a paradoxical debate has begun to dominate the conversation. While her results are undeniable, the mechanics of her game, specifically her service delivery, have become a lightning rod for scrutiny. We are currently observing an era of women's tennis defined by ballistic force. The modern game is populated by athletes who treat the serve as a blunt force instrument, frequently clocking speeds between 115 and 120 miles per hour. In this environment, the serve is often viewed as a binary weapon. You either overpower the opponent to win a free point, or you concede the advantage. Then, there is Alex Eala. During her recent campaign at Wimbledon, the digital displays told a story that seemed to contradict her success. Eala's first serve averaged a mere 86.3 miles per hour. For context, the standard WTA first serve typically hovers between 100 and 105 miles per hour. Her second serve was even more anomalous, registering at an average of 75.8 miles per hour. Figures that, on paper, should make her a target for every aggressive returner on the tour. To a casual observer or a data-driven scout, these numbers suggest a glaring vulnerability. The conventional wisdom of tennis dictates that a serve at that speed is an invitation for an opponent to step inside the baseline and terminate the point with a clean winner. This perceived lack of velocity became so prominent that it birthed a cultural phenomenon within the passionate Filipino sporting community. Known for their wit and digital creativity, fans transformed Eala's serve into a viral meme, bestowing upon it the ironic and affectionate nickname, the fucker. While the term has left international broadcasters and commentators scratching their heads in confusion, it has added a layer of folk hero mystique to Eala's persona. But as the laughter echoes across social media, a more serious realization is beginning to dawn on her opponents. The joke might actually be on them. The radar gun, for all its precision, is a remarkably narrow tool. It measures linear speed, but it is blind to the complexities of geometry, physics, and psychology. When we look past the raw miles per hour data, we discover that Eala's serve is not a weakness. It is a sophisticated tactical trap. It is a delivery built on the principles of deception and disruption rather than brute force. By examining the mechanics of her left-handed delivery, we see a masterclass in utilizing spin, placement, and rhythm to neutralize the most aggressive returners in the world. The foundation of this strategy begins with Eala's handedness. As a left-handed player, she possesses a natural structural advantage that is most potent on the ad side of the court. When she executes a slice serve out wide, the ball's natural rotation carries it away from a right-handed opponent's backhand, forcing them to lung into the alley. This is a classic tactical pattern, famously utilized by legends like Martina Navratilova and Eala's own mentor's nephew, Rafael Nadal. However, Eala has refined this traditional approach by meticulously manipulating the trajectory and the landing spot of the ball. Biometrically, her motion is a study in efficiency. She employs a deep, purposeful coil, characterized by a significant drop in the knees and a powerful rotation of the hips. As her left hip turns away from the target, she stores a massive amount of potential energy. However, instead of releasing that energy in a forward explosion to maximize linear speed, she redirects it. She channels that power into an aggressive upward and outward brush across the back of the ball. Her racket head doesn't just hit the ball, it carves through it. This creates a whip-like effect that prioritizes high RPM spin over forward propulsion. The result is a ball that may travel slowly through the air but undergoes a violent transformation the moment it touches the grass or hard court, dipping, diving, and skidding in ways that are nearly impossible to predict. This brings us to the core of the trap. Imagine a world-class returner, an athlete whose nervous system is calibrated to react to 110-mile-per-hour missiles. As Eala begins her motion, the returner's muscles fire in anticipation of heavy pace. They prepare to use the server's power against her. But instead of a blur of yellow, they are met with a ball traveling at 75 miles per hour. The returner sees a sit-up ball and prepares to punish it with a massive swing. This is exactly what Eala wants. Because the ball is moving slower than the returner's internal clock expects, their timing is immediately compromised. They have to generate 100% of the power themselves, a task that is made infinitely more difficult by the heavy slice and the low bounce. The ball does not sit up in the strike zone. It skids away, forcing the returner to bend their knees to extreme angles and scoop the ball just to get it back over the net. In most cases, the physics of this exchange dictate that the return will be pulled cross-court, directly into the deuce side of Eala's baseline. And it is here that Eala reveals the true weapon of her game, the +1 forehand. Her serve is the opening move in a choreographed sequence. By sacrificing speed, she gains total control over where the return is likely to land. She doesn't need aces. She needs a weak, predictable reply. As soon as that floating return crosses the net, Eala is already in position, stepping into her heavy high topspin left-handed forehand. She transitions from the slow server to the dominant aggressor in a fraction of a second, using her forehand to push her opponent deep into the corners and dictate the terms of the rally. This tactical philosophy reflects the influence of the Rafa Nadal Academy and specifically the guidance of Tony Nadal. Under Tony's tutelage, Eala has embraced the idea that tennis is a game of patterns and positioning, a physical version of chess. While a less disciplined player might feel pressured to increase their serve speed to match the tour average, Eala remains steadfast in her approach. She understands that the objective is to win the point, not to win a contest of speed. This maturity allows her to remain focused even when opponents try to attack her, trusting that the complexity of her spin will eventually wear them down. The impact of this style is as much psychological as it is physical. Over the course of a 3-set match, the cumulative effect of facing Eala's serve is exhausting. Opponents are forced into constant lateral movement, repeatedly lunging for low, sliding balls that offer no pace to work with. The physical toll on the legs and core is immense, but the mental toll is perhaps even greater. There is a specific kind of frustration that arises when a top-tier professional repeatedly misses returns against a 75-mile-per-hour serve. It creates a sense of cognitive dissonance. The opponent begins to doubt their own timing, wondering why they cannot punish a ball that looks so vulnerable. This doubt often leads to pressing, the tendency to swing harder and take more risks to prove a point. When a returner starts pressing against Eala, their unforced error count begins to skyrocket. They become their own worst enemy, while Eala remains the calm center of the storm, anticipating their next move before they've even made it. Her court awareness is such that she often seems to be moving toward the spot of the return before the ball has even left the opponent's racket. As Eala continues her journey through the 2026 season, the debate over her serve will likely persist. Critics will continue to point to the radar gun, while purists will point to her trophy cabinet. But the reality is that Alexandra Eala is challenging the very definition of power in modern tennis. She is proving that a great serve is not defined by how fast it travels, but by how much discomfort it creates. Whether it's through the geometry of her left-handed angles, the deception of her toss, or the sheer frustration her rhythm causes, Eala has turned a perceived liability into a world-class asset. As she prepares for the upcoming U.S. Open, the world is no longer just watching a young girl from the Philippines with a promising future. They are watching a tactical mastermind who has rewritten the rules of the game. Alex Eala's rise to world number 18 is a testament to the power of intelligence over impact and a reminder that in the high-stakes world of professional sports, the most dangerous weapon is often the one you never saw coming, no matter how slow it looks on the screen. The legend of the fuckerv is only just beginning, and for the rest of the WTA Tour, the challenge of solving the Eala enigma is now the most difficult task in tennis.